Story 1: Influencers. I cannot understand putting so much effort into someone who does not care about you and only feigns interest for engagement. Story 2: Multi-level marketing programs are often pyramid schemes in disguise. The individuals involved tend to be unwaveringly and intensely loyal. Story 3: Dieting trends have always been a part of my upbringing, especially with a mother who was enthusiastic about them. One week, she would say, "Ketogenic diets are beneficial, so avoid eggs. They harm your body." And the following week, she would insist, "Eggs are a superfood. Eat as many as you want, and steer clear of ketogenic diets because they are unhealthy." Story 4: Pot enthusiasts and the cannabis subculture. I support people's choices. If you smoke cannabis, enjoy it. If you use cocaine, do so and enjoy it. I don't believe in regulating anyone or taking away their freedom of choice. However, the cannabis subculture gets on my nerves. I've tried for years to enjoy cannabis, smoking many times and trying various strains, but it has only induced anxiety and paranoia for me. Occasionally, I mention this online and receive comments like, "You just haven't had the right strain. Cannabis is the best thing ever." It's frustrating how it's overly praised. Before I receive downvotes, I want to clarify that I'm referring to specific individuals who believe cannabis is a gift to humanity. I know people who use cannabis and benefit from it, and I support that. Story 5: My dad bought his first Jeep a couple of years ago and says he enjoys being part of the Jeep community, which includes randomly receiving rubber ducks and doing the Jeep wave at other Jeep owners while driving. Seems like he's having fun. Story 6: Many parenting trends can become quite exclusive, especially in certain parenting groups. It can be something as simple as cloth diaper communities, where using disposable diapers may feel frowned upon, or breastfeeding groups, where individuals may feel like outcasts if they do not exclusively breastfeed or choose to breastfeed for an extended period. Story 7: Social justice movements often overlook the fact that many groups of people face various forms of adversity, yet they may lack the visibility or support typically associated with hashtags or flags due to insufficient lobbying power. Story 8: Celebrities. I am not hating on her, but Taylor Swift is a major example of this. Her followers are very devoted, and I don't think anyone can change my mind. Story 9: Corporate policy. I have observed individuals recite corporate policy as if it were the ultimate authority, holding it tightly as if it were doctrine. It resembles a serious devotion. Story 10: Political affiliations. Most people appear to idolize their politicians or political affiliations. Story 11: Their position on doctors, medicines, and mental health. Many people do not have a healthy balance between following professionals and recognizing that medicine has historically promoted unsuccessful and sometimes dangerous practices. This can be less hazardous than those who oppose medicine, but I find blindly following medical professionals just as concerning as consuming misinformation about vaccinations in medicine. I work in mental health and advocate for my clients. I also create treatment plans for them and coordinate with various medical professionals and hospitals. I have had to save a few clients from dangerous medications that should never be prescribed together. I have also had to find them better therapists or specialized doctors. While this does not happen frequently, it is enough to understand that medical professionals should be used as educators, coaches, and guides. However, they are not all-knowing, and you should move on to another provider if you are not receiving the support you need. We need medical providers to be educators and help us build treatment plans with practical management and self-care tips. Medical appointments should last at least an hour and should never feel rushed. It is easier to simply choose a team, blindly follow doctors, or question all medical information rather than recognize that the entire system is flawed, requiring clients and patients to take on a significant role in their physical and mental health. It is your body, and you should aim to be its expert. Obviously, you will need the assistance of medical experts to achieve that. Story 12: Identity requires constant reinforcement. People addicted to identity resemble cult members with their shared illusion of identity as their ultimate belief. Story 13: People bought into Tesla because of the cult-like fanaticism surrounding the CEO, and then sold their vehicles when they realized that the billionaire was not as admirable as they thought. More often than not, They switched from a gas-powered vehicle to an electric vehicle to brag about their righteous choices, only to revert back to another gas-powered vehicle, completely abandoning their pretended principles in the process. Many companies produce electric vehicles, not just Tesla. Consider purchasing one from those companies. Use it to showcase your supposed moral superiority as much as you feel necessary. I don't mind. Just stop pretending you are not part of a cult. Story 14. Supporters of MAGA may feel strongly about their beliefs, and that's their choice. However, it's important to remember that Trump is a human being. He bleeds like everyone else and is not special in any way. Story 15. Political parties. I know it is easy for liberals to see Trump supporters as cult members, but from the outside, it is just as easy to see Democrats in that light. Story 16. New releases at places like Lululemon and Aritzia are remarkable. It is surprising how many people complain about both brands yet still spend hundreds or thousands of dollars a year on clothing that can be found at equivalent quality for a much better price. Story 17. People are susceptible to cult-like discipleship toward anything or anyone that confirms their biases, ideas, or ideologies. This could be a person, such as Donald Trump or Taylor Swift, an occupation, such as therapy or education, a hobby, such as sports or gaming, an ideology, such as religion or spirituality, or a platform, such as TikTok or Reddit. People will follow whatever fulfills their deep desires. Story 18. Combat sports and professional wrestling. Many fans aren't actually supporters of the sports themselves, only of their chosen faction or promotion. Where it falls into a cult-like status is how there are so many people that will either criticize anything in mixed martial arts that isn't essentially Muay Thai. People will literally boo grappling, the very reason the sport exists in its current form. Spend countless hours disparaging promotions they don't follow. Act strangely around the stars themselves, whether it's being overly intrusive to women or challenging towering wrestlers or trained fighters as if they couldn't defeat them easily. Forgo all social norms, such as personal hygiene, being a decent person, and avoiding racist, homophobic, or sexist behavior. Story 19. Those pseudo-medical websites reveal that they lack substantial knowledge. They understand just enough to sound convincing to individuals who may not think logically or are not well informed about science. Story 20. Influencers and the dangerous trends they initiate. There is nothing wrong with having a following, but when the leader engages in reckless behavior and their followers imitate it, resulting in injuries or fatalities, it's alarming. Numerous young adult deaths have originated from trends promoted by influencers. While it is not inherently wrong to appreciate and follow someone, it is vital to exercise common sense. Story 21. Sports. People discuss football at work as if they are professional commentators, demonstrating an impressive breadth and depth of knowledge on the subject. It's surprising how much of their lives is dedicated to this. Story 22. Donald Trump, Elon Musk, royalty, celebrities, influencers, and many other topics to mention. Story 23. Government. We are now granting presidents clear immunity to all crimes. That's a cult. I have pointed out the insanity surrounding Donald Trump, Barack Obama's use of drones against Americans without trials, and if necessary, George W. Bush's war crimes. Story 24. Taylor Swift. I don't understand it. To be clear, it's unhealthy. The devoted fans seem like they would go to great lengths for her. Story 25. Climate change. Bernie Sanders. Opposition to Donald Trump. Antifa. Systematically voting for the Democratic Party. Looking at you, Los Angeles, San Francisco, and California. Story 26. Sports fans believe they can change the outcome of a game just by having the TV turned on and yelling at it. Story 27. Sports, yoga, politics, money, celebrities, and Yetis are among the many interests we have, yet we seldom discuss them. Story 28. That man is supported by religious Christians who love Israel, despite having all the characteristics of the Antichrist. Story 29. Cryptocurrency. Let us all come together and invest our real money in this pseudo-fascist community, where your money has no genuine value and can be significantly depreciated at a moment's notice. Story 30. Politics. People stopped worshiping a higher power and instead worship politicians and political parties. They even argue about which religion or party is the true one. Story 31. Those who make empty promises only have their own interests in mind. I hope most of you can figure out who I am referring to. Millions of people have foolishly believed his lies. Story 32. Any gathering of a group of 3 or more people includes all institutions, systems, companies with logos, sports teams with logos, products with logos, musicians, and artists. Any social media profile with a following of 3 or more people is also included. Once a third person has been introduced, pack mentality begins. No social justice movement or virtue signaling entity is free from this psychological predicament. Story 33. K-pop, honestly. I guess you could say this about all music fandoms, but there is something especially parasocial about K-pop that really draws you in and demands your attention. The companies definitely structure it that way. I do consider myself a fan, but the days of that constant devotion are behind me. Story 34. Check out any of those morbidly obese YouTubers, and you'll find legions of passionate individuals in the comments, both fans and critics, who make it their purpose to respond to every word these individuals ever utter. For every one Amber Lynn Reed upload, there are hundreds of reaction channels sharing their responses. Story 35. This ongoing public disagreement between Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni has caught my attention. Initially, I clicked on a few articles about it, and now my algorithm keeps presenting me with related content. The comments I read were surprising. It was astonishing to see how passionately people liked or disliked individuals they do not know in real life. It reminds me of The Public Hating by Steve Allen. Story 36. Roosevelt shirts. These shirts are $70 and very popular with the Disney crowd. It's a cult favorite, as people will come up to you and say, "Nice shirt." Story 37. There needs to be an experiment on how quickly any post on Reddit can become politically dominated, regardless of the context. It seems that almost every post quickly turns into politically charged discussions. Story 38. Hustle culture often looks down on those who do not have a second source of income while already working long hours. I used to work with someone like that, and it was frustrating. I would go home after work, not trying to start a side hustle when my day was done. He couldn't understand why his marriage and relationship with his daughter were falling apart. I wonder why. Story 39. TikTok has become a popular platform, with many young people spending excessive amounts of time on it. It can be highly addictive for those with attention deficit disorder. Story 40. Newest beauty or makeup products promoted by paid influencers who have not used them before receiving payment. Story 41. Certain celebrities, such as Taylor Swift and Kim Kardashian, engage with their fans to feel a sense of connection with someone they idolize and to escape the monotony of their daily lives. However, the reality is that it is not a genuine connection. The celebrity in question does not know them, and while some may truly appreciate their fans, many celebrities view their fans merely as potential sources of income. Story 42. I highly recommend the podcast Sounds Like a Cult for in-depth explorations of many topics mentioned in this thread. Story 43. Social media influencers, especially on platforms like Instagram and TikTok, can sometimes resemble a cult. People obsessively follow their lives, buy into their recommendations, and defend them blindly, often treating them as gurus. It is incredible how they can shape trends and opinions with their massive followings. Story 44. Celebrities, politicians, and influencers. Essentially anyone who has significant wealth and the influence to exploit others. Story 45. Influencers, particularly those promoting absurd methods to make money or selling courses on how they generate income through these classes, often encourage unrealistic expectations. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.